What's up? Hey y'all, how are y'all doing tonight? It is so good to be with you. Thank you guys so much for joining Soul of the Matter with Mel. And I am in here with Uncle Fitz and my girl, business owner, entrepreneur, nurse, mother, like all of that combined, Miss Shauniece Lee. Hey, Shawnee.
Hi.
Hey, thank you, girl, for coming. We got real hand claps here today.
Mm.
So, how is your day? Thank you for coming on the show. Um, Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a Sarasota native and a licensed nurse by trade, bachelor's in health services administration, and also the director of inspiration for the Little Medical School here on the Suncoast.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Tell us a little bit about the Little Medical School and how did you start Little Medical School?
So for a while, I've always had a entrepreneurial spirit,
Yeah.
and I've always worked for corporate, mostly nonprofits. But after COVID happened in 2020, I was just really seeking to do something different. I wanted to do something that could be legacy building. And so when I heard about the Little Medical School, which is a national and international franchise, I
Okay.
thought to myself, well, we should have one here.
Yes, we
We
should.
should have one
We
here
should
as a
definitely.
Sarasota native because it really matches the our community here. So that's when I wanted to invest and go ahead and purchase one of those for our area.
That's dope, man.
Wow. So you like bought into the franchise?
I did.
Wow. And this is like your own independent branch of this entity that
It
we're
is.
talking about.
Yep.
Good for you.
Thank you.
So
Wow.
explain Little Medical School. What is like we hear Little Medical School and we thinking not nurses, doctors, like so many different options.
And Little Medical School is very vast. So it started with an internal med physician. She was a female.
Mm-hmm.
And when they gave her residents underneath her, she would say, oh, why don't you guys go out and teach kids this, that, and the third? And so
Mhm.
she built her curriculum that way
Wow.
and ultimately started the Little Medical School and started to franchise it. And we teach children ages 4 to 14 about just different careers in STEM and medicine. So we may be having a sports medicine program where we're talking about strains and sprains,
Mhm.
applying an ACE wrap, how to use a reflex hammer, and then we may turn that on its head. For instance, I'm at Girls Inc. right now, and we're learning about veterinary medicine.
Wow.
And so they're
Okay.
learning about tick-borne illness, how to assess a dog from the nose to tail, and more.
And more, wow. So they are learning how to take care of their pets
Yes.
and different things. So what tools do you use to teach them about the body?
So we use tons of tools. We have a lot of sticker sheets, worksheets, and then a lot of real medical instruments that we allow them to use.
Oh, wow.
We teach them to suture with blunted needles.
Okay.
So we want them to have as real of an experience as they possibly can to ignite and inspire them.
Yeah, like that sewing,
Yes.
showing them how to do it, but yet that dull needle is not going to allow them to hurt themselves,
Right.
but it's still going to give them the feeling
Yes.
of how it is to sew up something. And right now, with the world going the way it's going, you just never know. You might need those skills.
Right.
But it has been, how did you, taking that leap, like as an entrepreneur, no longer working and doing other things, how did you prepare for that? Or what was the preparation?
I think that life was the preparation.
Oh,
My career in medicine was the preparation. And I just got to a point where I was just ready to invest in myself.
yeah,
I wanted to make my own impact. I really wanted to be a pioneer.
yeah.
I got to a point where I was like, I'd rather take my money and throw it off my roof than not invest in myself.
Oh,
Mm. That is really determination right there. That's a passion.
yeah.
That's it reminds me of the saying that it's not a job for you.
Right.
You know, this is something that because of that type of passion and that type of vigor and expression, that it's like you would do this for free.
Oh, yes. If I could, I would do it all day and night for free.
See, I can tell, you know, your smile tells it. And that's something that with what you're doing in concert of that type of passion, that if you can catch these children early in the way that you're pursuing them, that will allow them to get to that point where they'll do it for free. But of course, there is that part of getting paid for it.
Right.
You know, so I love that part. Now, earlier you had mentioned about, because I just thought it was like internal medicine or you know, just with the human body, but you're actually branching over to almost like the veterinarian side to expose them to that. Did I hear that correctly?
Oh, yes. So we have a really vast curriculum that we're able to offer. So we have veterinary medicine, we have 2 dog programs, 1 cat. We also have a horse program. We have a new forensics program and marine biology program. And it's wild how much curriculum they have. And they have dedicated people that really review the curriculum, that make sure that it's always on point. We have a STEM accreditation that they always review everything that we're doing on an annual basis.
Wow.
And so we want to keep it new and fresh and innovative.
Okay. That's good stuff. You know, I want to just go back to part of the exposure that you're giving them regarding the medicine part. And my understanding, you're saying that the ages go up to 14. All right. So given what we sometimes run into, and I believe in all communities. So let's say you got a 14-year-old, I'm sorry, for your kids' ages, right? And I just want to tap into this part of consideration, or you may already be doing it. The understanding of the different, like diabetes is very prevalent within the African American community. Hypertension, which is that cholesterol thing. So, like to acutely, are you, pointing out to them the acute part of different dynamics that affect them in their community, such as those type of diseases?
So I think in order to start with that, you need to go back to age 4.
Ooh.
So in pre-K, kids are learning about community helpers.
Okay.
And nurses and doctors, firemen, police, they're all community helpers. And I think that's where you start with diabetes.
Okay.
Because if you're not afraid of the doctor, if you don't only go to the doctor when you're sick, if you don't only go to the dentist when you're sick, when you realize that medicine is more about wellness than sickness, then you can change it's a paradigm change for the 14-year-olds.
Okay. Now, and that's true. But, Ms. Lee, the hereditary part, is that something that you address with them? Because I'll give you an example. This is an absolute true story. And it basically deals with myself, that here I am about 3 years ago. I'm trying to figure out, I know that it's the May months, coming into the summer, and I normally up my water intake. So I'm trying to figure out, why am I drinking so much water? I'm drinking so much water. And then finally, I was absolute junkie for chocolate. I mean, that was just me, man. I had every Reese's, every Snicker, man, a certain store would, I'd get the whole pack, that's just me. So I'm studied, doing my normal regimen until one afternoon I'm driving and I experienced triple vision. Okay. And then I arrive I tell my doctor, I said, hey man, something's wrong, and I'm going with all my annuals and all of the things, the wellness part.
Right.
And it was just missed. And to God be the glory, I find out that I'm a 519 blood sugar level. So this was almost not an interview today,
Right.
Yeah.
and I became that guy, of the blood sugar and everything, not necessarily paying attention to that the fact that my mother has it, my father had it, they're injecting, mom is
Doing
Novolol,
insulin.
70/30, 7 units twice a day. I'm not paying attention to what I should be looking at that there's a probability. That's the part that I'm asking, like, to expose them to the probability of what your genetics may have in store to you, I should say.
I think just for them having the floor, a lot of times they'll share something like, "Oh, I know someone in my family that has cancer. I experience so and so has diabetes in my family." And I think hereditary is one of our vocab words. So we don't go specifics into their personal things or like medical histories or
Hmm.
anything like that. But yeah,
When the
having that
idea
exposure.
comes up,
Yeah,
that gets it.
absolutely.
I like that. I really
Absolutely.
do. That's good. I wish that was around when
Well,
I
and you
was
made
coming
me
through.
think of something at Visible Men's Academy a few
Hmm.
weeks ago. One of my classes that I had with them was on nutrition. And
Hmm.
we did sugar shockers, which is one of our classes, and we talked about added sugar. So, not only natural occurring sugar that's already in food, but different types of sugars that they put in food, and the fact that our food is made to taste a little bit better, have a little
Hmm.
bit better crunch. There's
Right.
specific people that study this so that we do enjoy our chocolate as much as we possibly can. So
I
just
don't
having
like
that.
the way you kind of lit up about chocolate when I'm only
Hey, I like
treated to
pound
one.
cake.
What?
I am a sweet potato pie girl. You know what
I
I mean?
had to give up a lot, you know.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
Well, moderation. We talk a lot about moderation because anything in moderation, right?
not disciplined enough yet. Working on it
Right.
though. There's a way that it actually came to me to give me to know that checking those levels really count,
Right.
and moderation is huge.
Mhm.
So I'm enjoying what I'm excited about what you're doing. Is this also what you're doing? Is it, you mentioned Visible Man,
Mhm.
you mentioned Girls Inc.
Mhm.
How is it in the faith world? Are you being received by them?
You know, honestly, I have not heard from any faith-based entities at all, but I would be more than willing to go and educate wherever the students are. That's where we want to be.
Well, Reb, you heard her. Don't just collect that tithe and offering. Collect some life-saving methods here. Miss Lee is here with a very valuable entity that we have, and if we're going to purify the temple, then we can start with Miss Lee's program.
You know, another thing I want to talk about is an identity in science because that's one of the
Oh,
things that resonated with me the most.
yeah,
Like I said, I grew up in Newtown. My
yeah.
dad was a high school dropout. And
Mm-hmm.
so we did have one LPN in my family, but there is a huge disparity, if you will, in knowledge of healthcare providers, workers, and
Hmm.
how you can make a career in healthcare. And so I'll go to some schools and they'll know about nurses and doctors. And then I'll go to another school and they have nurses and doctors in their family, different types of doctors in their
Doctors.
family. They
Yeah,
have real medical instruments that they're able to play with
yeah.
at home, and they
Okay.
have an identity in science and they have an identity in science careers. And then there's other places that I visit and I'm like, do you know there's nurses on cruise ships
Wow.
and on helicopters? And
Hmm.
they're like,
Uh-huh.
no, we didn't know that. They don't know that there's so
Mm-mm.
many types of physicians,
Yeah,
and they don't know that science is in everything. Science is in lip gloss and science
yeah,
is in our
Hmm.
nail polish.
yeah.
So just
All
because
those
you
things
can't,
that make
yes,
us unique and girly a lot of times.
absolutely. Oh yeah, and science is in sports.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
You,
Shawnee, I've known you and I know a little bit about your story. You didn't just start off as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
We were talking about graduation and you were like, I graduated, and is it okay? First, I should have
Sure.
asked. You graduated from CYESIS,
Mhm.
and CYESIS is a school for young girls who are pregnant and
Mhm.
raising their kids. How did you go from that point to now a nurse,
Mhm.
a entrepreneur, a businesswoman, a business owner?
Mhm.
I always say businesswoman, but okay. But how did you take those steps, and what did that look like?
I guess I could say that my steps were ordered.
Mhm.
They were not necessarily sequential in any way.
Yeah.
My daughter Samara is 20 now. She was
Wow.
a surprise. And I always say that she was a catalyst for me because sometimes when you're a teenager, you're really, what they say, like lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
You don't have any direction. You don't really have anything that can really push you. And so getting pregnant with my daughter and just not wanting to be what my dad kept saying is, you're going to be a statistic. You're going to be a statistic. And so I had opportunities afforded to me. I did dual enrollment in high school, and that's how I got my nursing license. And that has really sustained me. I had my next daughter in 2008. And I don't have to tell anybody in this room what 2008 was like. And thank goodness I had my nursing license because when a lot of people were losing their houses and losing their jobs, losing everything, I never missed a paycheck.
Wow.
And that's what nursing has afforded for me.
Yeah.
And I went back to school later in life, in my late 20s. I graduated in 2016, only community college, but I got a bachelor's degree. And I was working for Tidewell Hospice, and thank goodness they saw some greatness in me, and they allowed me to go ahead and apply for a job. It was called a clinical liaison. And so what I did was I would go to facilities, and since I had worked for hospice, I got to talk to people about what we actually did.
Yeah.
So it was like spreading the gospel. I got to meet with people. I got to talk about things that I did as a nurse and support families when they were really having a hard time. And that literally took my pay scale from $40,000 a year to $65,000, and then up. Well, you know, that's when you elevate your educational status. That's how you build your build wealth and build your professional background and career. And so doing marketing, doing nursing, understanding how to communicate with people and speaking, that really gave me the courage to just step out and become an entrepreneur.
That's dope, man.
Good for you.
That is like.
We're going to have to send a reminder, or I'll text your father a heavenly text and tell him that the statistic that he probably thought that you could have been is really a statistic that you are, which is a overcomer, you know, and a giver back to your community.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you for that. Not
Thank
too many
you.
people do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you are active in the community. You're a part of Suncoast Women for Action and different groups. How has that been? Like, what is the look? Yeah, coming back.
Oh, I'm thankful for when people give me a seat at the table.
Yeah.
I've been a part of several different boards and parent advisory committee for the Community Foundation of Sarasota. And I'm always grateful because I think I have a point of view that many people don't have. And so that's why when people give me an opportunity to just share a little bit of insight, to be, to be there, I will.
Yeah.
And I will advocate for people that may not have a voice.
Yeah. And you do that daily just with your interactions with these kids. How are the young girls, because you've done classes at Girls Inc. and everything, when they see someone that looks like them, that they can identify with, how does that look to them, or how do you feel after you see that click?
I really love it. You know, they're so funny. They'll say, "Oh, you're so smart," or they'll say, "Can we touch your hair?" Or "You look like my auntie," or whatever. And I just think that that visibility, it does matter.
Yeah.
You know, showing up does matter. And so letting them know that you don't have to come from a wealthy household to, do something great or to further yourself. Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
And I think that is the message. As we know, Angie Stone passed away over the weekend. And I think the whole community has kind of felt it. Like, that's why we open up with our music. But she was definitely someone who came back to her community. Lyndon, you were telling me some things because y'all share something in common.
Yeah, Angie Stone is from my hometown, Columbia, South Carolina. She's a graduate of C.A. Johnson High School, which is the high school that my father graduated from or attended. And she was very down-to-earth, regular people, very approachable, a gospel voice that just folks still think about and resonate through. A part of the first female rap group sequence. Back in the day, that was one of the jams. Funk You Up, and it's a sad loss. I mean, she's in my prayers, like she is with everyone. That pray that the family can find some grace and solace through this death. It's very hard, but as a matter of fact, if you begin to look at her overcoming, you are Angie Stone.
Mm.
You are a Angie Stone. She had the 2 kids, and she went off to, she left out of a safe zone of the church to go to New York and to go into a Basque industry of rap as a female. I mean, that's basically like a loner. And sitting here listening to Ms. Lee speak about her journey, you're like an Angie Stone.
Yeah, I'll take that.
What an honor. No, that's it. We are grateful for you tonight, because one of the things that really hit me is, even though there were people in your life that spoke ill against your life, said you would be a statistic, you didn't let that stop it. You kept going on. And raising your daughter, how did you pivot from that type of parenting? Or how was that? Did you read books? What did you do? Or did you just learn who she was?
Oof. I think motherhood is a journey, right?
Yeah.
And then each child is different.
Yeah.
So being a young mom I think it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I parented my child with a lot of grace. I still do.
Yeah.
She taught me a lot of things, a lot of patience, and just persistence, because at the end of the day, you can't give up when you have so much on your shoulders and so much riding on you.
Yeah, you can't. And it's you said life prepares you for this journey of entrepreneurship. And I think being a mom definitely prepares you for those things that suddenly happen, those pivot moments, those, how am I going to make this hustler in us? I think. Would you agree?
I agree. And I mean, I think it's even as simple as everything is a sales job. Trying to convince your kids of something is a sales job. So it's just like selling your business or highlighting the features.
Yeah. And you told me when my son, I was starting back working and getting out there and taking him to school, and you were like, Mel, just promise him, some Dunkin'. That's his favorite. Take him to Dunkin' on Fridays. And I was like, you know what? That just might work. And it did.
I'm not above bribery.
No.
These kids, they want to know, where's the reward?
Yeah.
Just like us. We want to know when's the next reward.
Merit driven is what they
Absolutely.
call it. Merit driven.
It's very PC. Very politically correct. Merit driven.
Yeah, because it sure is politically correct. Because I'm sitting here and I'm realizing that, wow, what a difference in the generations. And when I say that from my generation.
Yeah.
There is some residual from Nike that belongs to the mothers of my generation.
Ooh.
And let me tell you what I mean by that. Wash my dishes. No ifs, no ands, no buts.
Just do it.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Just do it.
Please don't make me repeat myself.
I'm trying to tell you. Now, I got to tell y'all, because, there was no, I say this all the time because my mom's super old school. She's 84 years old. Wow. You know what I mean? And that's just how that went. You fall asleep and you leave them dishes inside that sink. My mother waited about 3:30 in the morning, grabbed you by your ankle, and let me tell you something, traveling from your pillow to the floor at 3:30 in the morning.
That's no fun.
That's no fun.
That's no fun.
That's like I would rather climb a sliding board looking at the razor blades on the sliding board and go straight into a pool of alcohol.
Oh, Lord.
That's
horrible.
Didn't wake up like that.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. But I bring that to the table to say that's the change that I'm proud to hear in y'all's personal life of working with the children that we have today. There are different facets, the exposure that they have. I'm glad the adjustment is there. I'm happy to hear that because I was wondering about our generations of where we're going with our kids. So I appreciate that. I have a question for you in regards to your program. Do you touch on health benefits or is it just medical?
In what way do you mean?
Understanding how your Medicaid may work, understanding how your Medicare may work, understanding how your HMO may work, those type of things, because that 14-year-old may be with Big Mama or the grandparent or the parent that may, not that it's their responsibility, but just as a thought process or, like you said, the exposure, the triggers of not only can I do internal medicine, veterinary medicine, but I can also understand how that there's a job within the insurance portion of it.
No, we historically haven't touched on any of that.
Okay. May want to consider that because with how things are changing within that, I'm not saying that this is the response, because you, from what I'm hearing, you touching a broad range of the medical field and the exposure that you're giving to them. I would ask that maybe that could be a consideration of how that can help launch another career. You know, because there's the medical side of the
physical.
the physical, and then you got the pharmaceutical side. You know, I always think some of the best dealers come to a doctor's office in suits and say, "Hey, doc, we got this new drug by Pfizer. You know, that's out there."
That's our big dope boys.
Exactly. Well, I didn't want to say it like that,
I'm
but
sorry. It's they
let's
selling
just call
drugs.
them in-house pharmacists.
They're not
As opposed
street
to,
pharmacists.
let's not have Miss Lee people not give her no money for her program because we sitting here off the chain and in the rough and all that good stuff.
I say
What I
things.
can tell you is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
we do complement a lot of the science benchmarks that our kids need to know for their science standards and the testing, like the standardized testing that they take, and you have to pass this test to move on to the next grade.
Right.
So that's one way that we're in a very helpful position. So not only what they're learning in their science class, but after school when they're learning with me, they're having so much fun they don't even realize that they're learning and they're enriching and they're really cementing in some of those science benchmarks.
So you meet them on their level.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's
Absolutely.
That's what makes it effective because, you know, part of what I do is I meet a lot of different educators. And you mentioned Little Medical School, or they'll tell you about their Little Medical School program and the effects that it have on the kids. The kids be wanting you to come back, come back. And the parents feel the same way.
Yes.
Because the kids, like, you do things for them. The little kids seeing them in their medical jackets and their stethoscopes. I hope I said that right. But those are like just some of the...
I wouldn't do that on Jeopardy.
You know.
You know I wasn't going to let that slide now. Because we got company.
How do you properly say that?
Stethoscope.
Stethoscope.
There you go. See, you got to go Steph.
Stethoscope.
Got to put Steph in there like Steph.
Steph.
There you go.
Oh, scope. Steph. Oh, scope.
Think you got a new student.
Scope. Hey.
Think you got a new
teaching me
student.
new words, how to properly say them. Make my tongue not be that way. But like you meet them on their level.
Yes.
These kids ask for you. The parents, they ask for you as well. How are you able to keep up? Because you also have a family. You still have a young son.
I do the best I can.
That's all we can do.
And I have great people working with me. I have a great team. I have people like you that put me in contact with whoever I need to know.
Yeah.
You know, HR wise, I've got like Deanna King doing my recruiting for me and my HR stuff, and the chamber, you know, making those connections for me and giving me the opportunity to do presentations and meet others and network. And so as much as I'm a solopreneur, I'm not by myself at all.
No.
have hospitals embraced in the various communities from you have Sarasota Memorial here, you have doctors here, you have you have big entities here. Have they embraced this concept? Because you would be feeling their future workload loss that's just about to happen, if not happening now.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually talked about this a few weeks ago, the fact that the Little Medical School really mirrors who our community is. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say that, when you think about our marine science program, Moat Marine is building something that's really huge and that's going to
Yeah.
last and have a legacy here in our area.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about our sports medicine program, you can think about the Orioles, the Braves down in Northport, and the
Mm-hmm.
spring training that goes on here in our area. And then you mentioned all of our really huge health systems.
Yes.
So that is our nursing program, our little doctors program,
Right.
our little pharmacy program, and then not to mention all of our nursing schools that are coming up in this area.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we are planting the seeds and we do mirror everything that our community is. But as a 3-year-old company, one of the biggest job that I have is to make sure that access, understanding, and utilization of our company, I don't think the awareness is there. I feel like
Mm.
people would want to invest
Right.
if they had the awareness. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight.
Well,
Yeah.
you're right. That is why you're. So y'all need to listen up, Kaiser. All these schools. We have a
Yes.
feeder system that
Yes.
can start with these young minds.
Yes.
You can start with the seed. So you need to get on board. This is, listen. I am so honored to be here and to know that you're doing what you're doing. And in some ways, it lies personal with me. My mother is a retired nurse of 41 years, and she suffers from dementia and Alzheimer's. One of the biggest things that is a challenge is the actual coverage that comes in the house. So imagine, having the benefit,
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
her insurance. However, there comes the person who knocks on the door that there's a language barrier. So we're facing a language barrier.
Yeah.
And one of the things that scared me was when an aide showed up and brung her phone through the door. And the first thing the phone said was, I can't speak English. Just talking to the phone. Well, you're sending someone on an assignment to watch for 8 hours. Someone who my mother is so out of touch with a cell phone or that translator, that type of thing. I say all that to say this. What you're doing can help with that future language barrier that one day I may be in the position of my mom, and I'm going to need someone there that would be able to talk to me,
Yeah.
communicate with me. So I'm hoping that this exposure, that we can provide you just a glimpse, full-fledged look into what you're doing. We're tired of glimpses. We ain't taking a sip of water. We want the whole
Well, I
cake.
have to be devil's advocate here because I
Yeah.
think that when a caregiver walks in and they have a heart
Mm.
and they are willing to show up and do the work, and thank goodness we have the technology today where you can just talk and we have the ability to translate, because sometimes I have children in my class and I'm not fluent in Spanish, and so I'm not fluent in French or any other languages. So but to show up is very courageous, and I think that every time I let a child hear their heart with their very own stethoscope, that's just another drop in the bucket of
Yes.
seeds that will bloom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think, like you said, there is that language barrier. There are a lot of women who come to this country and seek employment, and nursing is a great opportunity. There's so many free programs out there to get you started, and a lot of them are just starting. But at the same time, I think there's other resources that some people need, those English classes, and those things. When you get to know people, especially immigrants who come over here, they're very proud. And they're trying, a lot of them are learning on their own, or they're depending on their kids, depending on that story. But that takes us like into a rabbit hole of a discussion when it comes to immigration, when it comes to people being at work, resources offered at schools for kids that are speaking other languages. That goes down a rabbit hole. Y'all want to go down a rabbit hole tonight?
No.
Not tonight. Not tonight.
Well, the perspective that I was speaking from
Mm-hmm.
is that yes, it is a heart that's coming in the house.
Mhm.
It is individuals that are coming to this country. Come on, we need you.
Yeah.
This country has done it before,
Yeah.
but the reinforcement within our community, like we have a whole church sector that's sitting out here, as we discussed earlier, that haven't tapped this market.
Mm.
What I'm saying is more of, when I say English speaking, I'm speaking black folks. We've gone away from this profession in a lot of ways, other than a hospital setting. In that way, you mentioned earlier a mutual friend that we have in common off of the block that off air we were talking.
Mhm.
The irony of that person that we're talking about, that is like a good friend of yours. My mom did the 3 to 11, and that person did 11 to 7
Mhm.
of the same client.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, since that has stopped, Jesus, over 35 years ago, there hasn't been as many coming in. In other words, we're not necessarily taking care of our own. That's where I need the little seeds to drop, that home health aid is very important for not only just all other communities, black, white,
Especially,
whatever,
yeah.
but in our area, it's tough.
It's needed.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because yesterday I had a conversation with a young lady,
Mm-hmm.
and she said she was in laboratory tech school and she was
Okay.
learning to be a laboratory tech. And she said, my mother's really upset about that because my mother thinks that I should be more. And I said, well, as a laboratory tech, that's very important. That's a very important
Mhm.
role. You have a very important role in healthcare. And I joked with her that I told my father that I wanted to be a physician's assistant. And he said, well, why not a physician? And so I think that everybody has a role. And when you think about the fabric of healthcare
Mhm.
and even the fabric of our community, we all have a place and we can make a difference, and we're just stronger when we're like woven together.
Yes, and that's it right there. There's going to be the physician. There's going to be the physician assistant.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be that lab tech. If that lab tech get this test wrong, from when the phlebotomist went up or when the swab was taken, when it's sent down to that lab to be tested, if that, or let's just look at it from a DNA point of view. If there's a crime done been committed and
Yeah.
that DNA isn't taken properly, then we're in trouble. So that technician is very important, because I look at it like this: if you're not good with numbers, then there are some limitations there.
Yeah.
If you're dyslexic, then there's the written part that has to go with it, because it's just not saying, hey, I'm gonna be a doctor with the code. There are certain mechanics that has to go into it. So I'm in hopes that you continue to do what you do and introduce that whole collaboration effort, that the body needs everything.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that's just how that is. So
Yeah.
I'm in hopes of that, man,
Yeah.
because I've been a caregiver for 10 years.
24/7.
Absolutely. Every day. I mean, it's certain things, as y'all was mentioning about the negotiating with your kids earlier. My mom has a full-prong cane that I purposely put a little squeak in it, so I can hear. Your face just threw me off just then because she went like, I know. It was like an amen in a church mail. I got caught in it. I'm about to reach in my pocket and get an offering out. You know?
There we go. When I was 16, I worked in a dementia unit at the Pines of Sarasota.
So you get what I am saying, that it's 24/7. You got to have a lot of patience, and you definitely got to have a heart. But for me, it's all of those things, and it's just the fact that I respect my mother from the point that when she was carrying me and she went to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden I tapped her bladder and she had to get back up and go again.
Yeah.
So my respect for her starts with that.
Mm-hmm. Now I got a question for you, because I hear a lot of older men, say things like that when they talk about their mothers. Mm-hmm. At what age did that respect and that care kicked in for you to be that for her? Because were you an average teenager? Did she have to yell when you was a teenager and going through it?
My mother had certain language that she spoke. Y'all, you caught me rising. I'm adjusting my back, but I'm also paying reverence to the way my mother spoke.
Yeah.
When you hear someone, and you help me with this since you in the medical part, when you hear someone say, "I'll whoop your behind until it ropes like okra."
Wow.
I don't exactly.
Wow.
I don't know what that is, but it definitely doesn't sound good.
Right.
It didn't sound beneficial. I don't know. So at that point, there wasn't too much going off of the road with her, but I wasn't that, but in speaking in regards to my mom, and right now I'm just gripping my hand with so much love for her, so much wisdom, so much nurturing, and it was tough, it wasn't like, no, it was the direction that she gave, and then as I gotten older, at 7, 8 years old, and you looking at the white uniform and those white heels and the nursing hat and the kiwi polish and the sky blue square, fan, getting ready for the next shift, I had to respect and honor that.
Yeah.
I realized that it wasn't necessarily all what I wanted coming in that house, but I can't say that the needs weren't met.
Yeah.
There's a big difference,
And did you realize that when you got older, or was it something that you realized at like 7 years old?
I realized it because I'm the youngest of 5. So I'm watching everybody else on stage.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the fatigue. I'm watching how tired she was. I'm watching how much my father and her were, putting things together for us.
Yeah.
5
kids.
5, yes. 5.
That's a lot. I don't know.
58 years marriage.
Yeah. Wow.
When my father left this world. Proud of that. Very proud of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's I think those are the interactions we miss. Those units, those families like that. But we are remaking nowadays what family looks like. Sometimes you might not have a spouse or a partner, but there are other people to fill in Uncle so-and-so, friend, different relationships that we have that we can still remake and have similar experiences, but remake what the family, what family is.
When we look at what Ms. Lee is doing, okay, that's a part of a family element.
The care.
And that's what, if anything that I'm going to leave here with having you here tonight, and we really thank you,
Yeah.
is that we got another family member within the family tree of a collective amount of family
Yeah.
that can begin an opportunity of self-sufficiency, entrepreneurship. I mean, a heck of a resource just came in here. A diamond just walked in here tonight, and I'm very blessed by it. Mel is blessed by it. That as the family is changing, to know what we have, hey, you're extra.
Yeah.
You know what that just made me think of is that we don't think about it much anymore, but there still are families that have 3 generations in a home.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned, talking to them about diabetes and things like that, for instance, my children that are in Little Medical School, we may not talk to them about specific illness or hereditary illness that they may face in the future, etc. But we give them a little bit of boldness. I've had a one child.
What do you mean by that? A little bit of boldness.
I had a child, and her father suffered a heart attack after she went through my Little Medical School program.
Right.
And her mom said to me, she walked in the hospital and she wasn't afraid.
Oh.
And she chimed in a little bit and she asked questions. This was an elementary school student.
Wow.
And so I think that when you have a little bit of knowledge, you're not so meek, you're interested, you're invested.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you have to be a fly on the wall, but you do want to seek understanding.
Right. Right.
And
So, Grandma, why are you giving yourself those shots? What is that?
yeah.
Where does that come from? You take that every day?
Yes. Yes.
Am I going to have to take that? Because kids, that's what
They're going to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where it goes.
It's sort of like the exposure of, I like ice cream because I've seen somebody in my family like ice cream, but then there's that question in these pills that seems to be put up very high up that I can't touch them. So what is that about? I like that because it does bring that curiosity within them.
But you also just talking just really took me back to when I was in high school. I got a job as a resident assistant, and it was my job to paint the fingernails and wheel the residents to the dining room and sometimes feed them.
Yeah.
And man, Alzheimer's dementia. That was like my first love.
Really?
And I'm so passionate about it, and I wish more people would talk about it. And as a young person, it was really, I don't know, it's just a really powerful thing because I've had chemists and nurses and musicians, and it's an illness that does not discriminate.
It sure
It
doesn't.
doesn't care how much money you have. It doesn't care whose superhero you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Like your mother,
Right.
your mother's
Yeah.
your superhero. It doesn't care if you're male or female. And it's just really, really complex. And it's really hard on the families. And so I want to commend you.
Thank you.
I want to commend you.
It's I think it's one of the cruelest ones of diseases that are out there. And when I say that fly only came over there because you just that fly. But okay, that's what it was. Cause I'm cool over here. Mel is fresh, but it just said, you know what, we got a fly guest tonight.
Okay.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. But it's so cruel that
It
this
takes
is the
away.
person that taught you how to tie your shoe.
Yeah.
This is the person that celebrated your accomplishments from the stool, the potty. This is the person that gave you all the grace, gave you all the, and I'm not just speaking, not only from as my mom aspect, but a loved one, a friend, that their capacities are being reduced. There's nothing more, to me, with my personal experience, there's been nothing more painful to watch of someone that I love, and then the fact of a human being to just not have from a nice breakfast this morning to the evening, and they don't know what they had for breakfast.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. But I can tell you that there are some highlights you get with them.
Okay.
They are. See,
I got some highlights for you.
they are so witty.
Yes, they are.
You know,
So
I give you two examples. We're going to the neurologist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the care is very important, and I normally come in the room with her, and then when it's time for the private time, I step out, and then he'll come out and have a little consultation with me.
Yeah.
And this particular day, he said, "Do you have?" He asked my mother, "Did she ever any problems remembering things?" And my mother said, "Well, would you like for me to remember when I sat in the back of the bus, or what would you like for I mean,
Okay.
right. So I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting today. And so you can tell because there are certain lucid days,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are days that it's a battle for this, it's a battle for that. So, and then the second question that came was, Miss Jones, how's your memory? Do you forget things or do you misplace things? And my mother simply said, "I don't misplace things. I place things where they're missing." so,
I do that sometimes.
Yes. What do you think of
I
it?
gotta tell y'all that I walked out of that office and walked down the hall, and I know he heard me laughing. And he came out the office and he just shook my hand and said, "Good luck, son." You know,
That's all he could tell you at this point.
I have a story like that.
What's that?
So one day I'm training a new nurse,
Okay.
and nurses are proud of each other.
Ooh.
And so I'm standing there and I'm training my new nurse, and I said, "Oh, and this is Miss So and So, and she used to be a nurse too." And she said, "Oh, used to be. I'm still a nurse." And I'm going to be more of a nurse than you two will ever be. And I never, ever will say
Used
that
to be.
someone else used to be a nurse.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Now, man, I love what you just said because with my mom, I don't say, you notice tonight when I said my mother is a retired,
Mm-hmm.
they still hold on. And when you speaking of this particular disease, some of the toughest patients
Yeah.
is lawyers, doctors, and nurses.
People that used to be in those positions.
Well, they're used to being in control. You think about a lawyer, they still gonna know the law.
Yeah.
You can't take out, like she said, her patient was combining two people
Mm.
and said, "Combine." You
She
can't
mixed
touch
no
this.
words.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You know, and that's just them. That's their craft. And see, one of the things that flips with my mom is like, okay, it might be, she used to do the 11 to 7s
Mm-hmm.
overnight, and it's some nights that it's just an overnight shift. I do not care what and how many times you done said that I done took this. I have resorted back to it is 11 to 7 shift, and I have to adjust to that. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you know,
You have to do the adjustment.
it's
'cause she can
2:30 in the
no
morning, and she's gonna clock out at that time like it's a normal shift, and just her body, her mind, and then she's gonna go to sleep and might just sleep all the way 3 o'clock the next day. But I pray that there's someone coming along in Miss Lee's academy, in her entity. Give them the name of this entity because we're going to do our best here to spread the word about what you're doing.
Thank you. We're the
Yes,
Little
ma'am.
Medical School of the Suncoast.
And do you have a website they can find you at?
Yep, we're www.littlemedicalschool.com/Suncoast.
And we have really enjoyed having you here. Shout out to all those that are watching online on social media. I want to say, hey, Christina. Hey, Rod. Hey, let's see, Faith. Faith said, hey, Shawnee.
Hi.
She said she loves you.
Which Faith?
Faith Jenkins.
Miss Jenkins.
Miss Jenkins. Hey, Miss Jenkins.
Hi, Miss Jenkins. I love Miss Jenkins. She has been an ally for me and an asset and a mentor and all the things.
She is what's needed.
Phenomenal woman.
Yeah, she is what's needed for our kids more than anything else. And those are her babies, and we enjoy it, every moment of it. Man, I'm so grateful. Where can the people find you? What's your website?
Well, we're on socials also. Little
Okay.
Medical School Suncoast. Please follow us on Facebook
Hey.
because I'm trying to increase the awareness that way, and I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
Hate to
And,
cut you off. Do me a favor. Lower your microphone. We got audience members saying they can't see your pretty face.
Oh,
Ooh.
There you go. Now, are y'all happy? Don't be texting me. Get online so we can hear this. We got
That
an
part.
excellent producer here that he will chime in and let us know, you know. But that's that, you know, they texting. They loving you. My people loving
Sir,
you.
do we really, was this really a need?
What?
To stop at the moment?
No, it
You
was
said,
just to
please
let.
excuse me.
Yeah, it was just to let her know that
But, sir,
people want to see,
You know what?
so that they can see her when she's walking down the street and say, "Hey,
And see her beautiful face.
Thank
yeah,"
you.
and
Yeah.
get
anything
another
is
card.
appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will give
So
them a
they'll know.
business card.
I don't know why this got text to me.
Tell
You
them,
know?
you know what?
You know who it was?
Who was it?
Christine.
Christina.
Yeah.
Girl, you could have got on this live
I'm trying to tell you.
and said something. You know,
Yeah.
I am just disappointed.
Mhm.
Christina.
Wasn't me.
That's black folks, I tell you. Lord,
No,
what is we
people,
gonna do?
people.
Okay, people.
Thank you for the privilege to be here.
Thank
Yeah.
you for
You have
coming.
been so. I don't even have to tell you who you've been because you already know. Okay, she's talked me off the ledge. You've invested in me. You have spoken for me in rooms that I have not been in, and I appreciate that.
Mhm.
So
Girl, I do it for free. I do it for free. I don't care.
thank you.
Just a bonus.
So just invite me back. I'll be back.
Okay.
I'll come back 2 and 3 times.
Okay, girl.
I'm here for it.
Yes, we can get some medical questions and how we can get our kids involved
Yeah,
and
we could talk
doing
about the
things.
community and medical history. And
Oh, the topics are endless.
Mhm.
It is, Shawnee. And I'm thank you for coming. We've been trying to do this for a while. And we finally were able to make it happen. And y'all know, some people just have a good part. And you are definitely one of those people that have been there for me too. When I was sick and going through it, you'd be like, you want me to order some pizza? Have some sent to the house mail? You good? Like, my OFA peoples, y'all really stepped up and loved on mail, helped me get through some of those dark points. But that's what community does. And we encourage each other when things are tough on those business days as entrepreneurs. And we like, how the heck am I going to do all this? We do it. We encourage each other. Thank you guys so much for being a part of Soul of the Matter with me and Uncle Fitz. Uncle Fitz.
I done told you that my niece is getting mad at
They'll
you
be
about that
all right.
uncle thing.
They going to be okay.
You know how
'cause
many
guess
nieces
what?
I have?
How many?
23.
Good googly moogly.
Yeah.
You did have 5. It was
Yeah,
4 other
they
siblings.
were strong in what they
Oh,
did.
wow. See, but
Loved them.
they'll be all right, though.
There you go.
Because here, you Uncle Fitz. Everybody uncle. Everybody uncle. So,
Oh, man.
anything you want to tell our listeners tonight?
Well, let's shout out to, number one, we appreciate our guests, but shout out to the Booker High School girls basketball
Woo,
team.
woo. Can we
We
get
will
some
be,
hand claps or shakes?
We will definitely be supporting them tomorrow. They play tomorrow at the Lakeland Civic Center
Yeah.
at 5 o'clock. They'll be playing up against Palm Bay. They've had a wonderful season. They're going back. Shout out to Coach Ty, and shout out to Dr. Shelley and the Booker High School. So listen, you guys know how important this is. This is an opportunity to bring back and seal the deal. Cardinal Mooney has done it. this week. Congratulations to the Lady Cougars in winning their 3A state championship team.
Ooh, go ahead.
Sarasota High School boys basketball team play on the 7th. They'll be going up in the semifinals. For the first time ever,
yeah,
these are 3 city schools that are representing from an urban view of the city. So Cardinal Mooney has done their job. There's a charter bus that will be leaving Booker High School tomorrow, so you can call up tomorrow morning and see if you don't want to drive. It's $12 for that fee and $12 to get in the game. So what better way to spend your Tuesday afternoon than supporting our Lady Tornadoes basketball team? So shout-outs to them and shout-outs to the boys. So that's about it. I'll be over covering that game tomorrow, and go Tornadoes. Y'all wish me safe travel.
Woo, safe travel. Nah, Booker. Hey, go Tornadoes. I'm sorry, we are a Tornado Alley studio.
Booker Nation.
Booker Nation, baby.
Booker Nation.
Booker
Hey, I want to
Nation.
give a shout out to Mariah. She's on the girls basketball team.
Hey,
She's
Mariah.
lovely. Bring home the win, girl.
Yes.
Get
it, girl.
That's
Let's
what I'm
go,
talking
Lady
about.
Tornadoes.
Yes, love it. Thank you.
When you can have that many young ladies doing something positive and sticking with it, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
We
So
have to
y'all get
support
on the
them.
road tomorrow and spend a little money for some gas. I see gas now at $2.89. You can afford it.
It's not that bad. Not as bad as it was. Y'all remember in 2008 and 9 when that gas was getting expensive. Oh, thank you, Lord. So we have overcome. We are sharing our stories. We are promoting. If you guys would love to be a part of Soul of the Matter with Mel, contact your girl, DM me. Make sure you like, share, and comment on the videos because it helps. We want to get the word out, and we need your help doing that. So we will see you guys on next Monday here with me and Uncle Fitz, and you guys be blessed, all right? Deuces. I drove to the beach one day to let my mind flow away. I found myself walking to the dunes, letting the water and its currents guide my footsteps.